Welcome to our journey through the timeless wisdom of Buddha. In this video, we will explore profound teachings on impermanence, mindfulness, and compassion. Join us as we delve into the essence of these teachings and discover how they can transform our lives. The nature of suffering, or dukkha. Life, in its essence, is a journey filled with a multitude of experiences, both pleasant and unpleasant. However, one of the core teachings of Buddhism, as expounded by Buddha, is the concept of dukkha, often translated as suffering, pain, or dissatisfaction. This fundamental truth serves as a cornerstone for understanding the nature of existence and the human condition. Dukkha is a pervasive characteristic of life. It is not merely about experiencing physical pain or emotional distress. It encompasses a broader spectrum of dissatisfaction and unease that permeates our existence. From the moment we are born, we are subjected to the inevitabilities of aging, sickness, and death. These are universal experiences that every being must endure, and they form a significant part of what Buddha referred to as dukkha. The very act of living involves a series of desires and cravings, some of which are fulfilled, while others are not. This constant craving and the subsequent cycle of satisfaction and dissatisfaction create a persistent state of unease. For instance, when we desire something and eventually obtain it, the pleasure derived from it is often fleeting. Soon, a new desire emerges, and the cycle begins anew. This endless pursuit of desires can lead to a sense of emptiness and frustration, which is another aspect of dukkha. Even the moments of joy and happiness we experience are tinged with dukkha. This might seem counterintuitive, but according to Buddhist teachings, the transient nature of these pleasurable moments is what leads to suffering. We often find ourselves clinging to these positive experiences, wanting them to last forever. However, everything in life is impermanent, and as these moments pass, we are left with a sense of loss and longing, which contributes to our suffering. Buddha also highlighted the suffering inherent in our relationships with others. While relationships can be a source of great joy, they can also bring about significant pain and distress. The attachment we feel towards our loved ones can lead to fear and anxiety over the possibility of losing them. Moreover, conflicts and misunderstandings are inevitable in any relationship, adding to the overall experience of dukkha. Understanding and accepting the nature of suffering is crucial for our spiritual growth. It is the first step towards awakening and liberation. By acknowledging the existence of dukkha, we can begin to explore its causes and seek ways to overcome it. This acceptance does not mean we resign ourselves to a life of suffering. Rather, it empowers us to take meaningful actions towards alleviating it. One of the profound insights offered by Buddha is that suffering is an intrinsic part of life, but it is not the entirety of life. Recognizing dukkha allows us to develop a sense of compassion and empathy towards ourselves and others. When we see that everyone around us is also grappling with their own forms of suffering, we become more understanding and patient. This perspective fosters a sense of interconnectedness and solidarity among all beings. Moreover, the awareness of dukkha encourages us to live more mindfully. It prompts us to appreciate the present moment and find joy in the simple, often overlooked aspects of life. Instead of constantly chasing after desires and getting caught up in the cycle of craving, we learn to find contentment in what we have and where we are right now. This shift in perspective can significantly reduce our overall sense of dissatisfaction and lead to a more peaceful existence. In addition to mindfulness, the practice of meditation is essential in understanding and dealing with dukkha. Meditation helps us observe our thoughts and emotions without attachment or aversion. It provides us with the clarity to see the impermanent and interdependent nature of all phenomena. Through meditation, we can develop a deeper insight into the true nature of suffering and cultivate the inner strength to face it with equanimity. Ultimately, the recognition of dukkha is not meant to lead us into despair, but to inspire us to seek liberation. It is a call to look beyond the superficial layers of existence and delve into the deeper truths of life. By understanding suffering, we pave the way for compassion, wisdom, and ultimately, freedom from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. This profound journey begins with the simple yet profound acknowledgement of the nature of suffering as taught by Buddha. The cause of suffering, or tanha. In the teachings of Buddha, the cause of suffering, or dukkha, is identified as tanha, often translated as craving or desire. Tanha refers to the insatiable thirst for sensory pleasures, existence, and non-existence. This craving manifests in many forms, from the yearning for material possessions to the desire for emotional and psychological fulfillment. It is this relentless pursuit of satisfying our desires that leads to suffering. At its core, tanha is about attachment and clinging. When we desire something, we attach ourselves to the idea that possessing it will bring us happiness and contentment. However, this attachment is often based on a misconception. The objects of our desires are inherently impermanent and incapable of providing lasting satisfaction. Whether it is wealth, power, relationships, or even our own self-image, these objects are transient and subject to change. As a result, our attachment to them becomes a source of suffering when they inevitably change or disappear. Buddha taught that there are three main types of craving: kama-tanha, the craving for sensory pleasures; bhava-tanha, the craving for existence or becoming; and vibhava-tanha, the craving for non-existence or self-annihilation. Each of these cravings contributes to the cycle of suffering in its own way. Kama-tanha, the craving for sensory pleasures, is perhaps the most apparent form of desire. It encompasses the yearning for experiences that please our senses, such as delicious food, beautiful sights, pleasant sounds, and physical comfort. While these pleasures can bring temporary joy, they are fleeting by nature. Once the experience is over, the satisfaction it brought soon fades, leaving us yearning for more. This constant pursuit of sensory gratification can lead to a never-ending cycle of desire and disappointment. Bhava-tanha, the craving for existence or becoming, involves the desire to attain a certain state of being. This could be the aspiration to achieve a particular status, identity, or role in life. For example, we might crave success in our careers, recognition from others, or the attainment of spiritual enlightenment. While striving for these goals can motivate positive actions, the attachment to the outcome can lead to frustration and suffering if our aspirations are not met, or if we lose what we have achieved. Vibhava-tanha, the craving for non-existence or self-annihilation, is the desire to escape from the pain and suffering of existence. This form of craving can manifest in the wish to avoid unpleasant experiences or the longing for oblivion. It can be seen in behaviors such as substance abuse, self-harm, or even suicidal thoughts. Vibhava-tanha arises from a deep-seated aversion to the difficulties of life and a desire to find relief through non-existence. Understanding the nature of tanha is crucial for addressing the root causes of suffering. It requires a deep and honest examination of our desires and attachments. By recognizing how our cravings influence our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, we can begin to disentangle ourselves from their grip. This process involves cultivating mindfulness and awareness in our daily lives. Through practices such as meditation, we can develop the ability to observe our desires without being consumed by them. We learn to see them for what they are: transient and ultimately unsatisfying. In addition to mindfulness, the practice of non-attachment is essential in overcoming tanha. Non-attachment does not mean renouncing all desires or living a life devoid of pleasure. Rather, it involves cultivating a balanced and detached approach to our desires. We can enjoy the pleasures of life without becoming enslaved by them. We can pursue our goals and aspirations without being attached to the outcome. By embracing impermanence and letting go of our clinging, we free ourselves from the cycle of craving and suffering. Ultimately, understanding the cause of suffering through the lens of tanha is a transformative process. It challenges us to look beyond the surface level of our desires and to question the deeper motivations behind them. It encourages us to develop a more profound sense of contentment and peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. In doing so, we move closer to the realization of nirvana, the end of suffering, and the attainment of true liberation. The end of suffering, or nirvana. Buddha's teachings offer a path to the cessation of suffering, known as nirvana. Nirvana represents the ultimate goal of the Buddhist path, the liberation from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, or samsara, and the end of all forms of suffering. It is a state of profound peace, wisdom, and freedom, where the mind is free from the defilements of craving, aversion, and ignorance. Nirvana is often described as the extinguishing of the fires of desire, hatred, and delusion. Just as a fire is quenched when it runs out of fuel, the mind attains nirvana when it is no longer fueled by the three poisons. This state of liberation is characterized by complete freedom from the attachments and clinging that cause suffering. It is a profound inner transformation that leads to the realization of the true nature of reality. To reach nirvana, one must first develop a deep understanding of the nature of suffering and its causes. This involves the practice of insight meditation, or vipassana, which helps to cultivate mindfulness and awareness of the present moment. Through sustained practice, we learn to observe our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without attachment or aversion. We begin to see the impermanent and interdependent nature of all phenomena, which leads to a profound shift in our perspective. The practice of ethical conduct, or sila, is also essential in the pursuit of nirvana. This involves living a life of moral integrity and compassion, guided by the principles of right speech, right action, and right livelihood. By cultivating virtuous behavior, we create the conditions for a peaceful and harmonious mind, free from the disturbances of guilt and regret. Ethical conduct forms the foundation for the development of concentration, or samadhi, and wisdom, or panna. Concentration, or samadhi, is developed through the practice of meditation. It involves training the mind to become focused and undistracted, allowing us to penetrate deeper into the nature of reality. The development of concentration leads to a state of mental clarity and tranquility, where the mind is free from the habitual patterns of craving and aversion. This state of concentrated awareness is essential for the cultivation of insight and the realization of nirvana. Wisdom, or panna, is the direct understanding of the true nature of reality. It involves seeing things as they truly are, free from the distortions of ignorance and delusion. Wisdom arises from the practice of insight meditation and the development of deep understanding. It is characterized by the realization of the Four Noble Truths: the truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, and the truth of the path leading to the end of suffering. The attainment of nirvana is often described as a process of awakening or enlightenment. It is a profound and transformative experience that goes beyond intellectual understanding. It involves a direct and intuitive realization of the nature of reality, leading to a complete and irreversible liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Those who attain nirvana are known as arahants, fully enlightened beings who have realized the ultimate truth. The path to nirvana is a gradual and incremental process that requires sustained effort and commitment. It involves the cultivation of mindfulness, ethical conduct, concentration, and wisdom, as outlined in the Noble Eightfold Path. This path provides a practical and comprehensive framework for overcoming suffering and attaining liberation. It is a path that can be followed by anyone, regardless of their background or circumstances. Ultimately, the realization of nirvana is the culmination of the spiritual journey in Buddhism. It represents the highest goal and the ultimate fulfillment of human potential. It is a state of profound peace, wisdom, and compassion, where the mind is free from all forms of suffering. The attainment of nirvana is not an abstract or distant goal. It is a real and attainable possibility for those who are willing to dedicate themselves to the practice of the Buddhist path. the path to end suffering, or the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path is the practical guide provided by Buddha to end suffering and attain nirvana. It outlines the steps and practices necessary to cultivate wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. The Eightfold Path is often divided into three main categories: wisdom pana, ethical conduct or sila, and mental discipline or samadhi. Each of these categories encompasses specific practices that support the overall goal of liberation from suffering. Wisdom, or pana, is the first category of the Eightfold Path and consists of right understanding and right thought. Right understanding, also known as right view, involves seeing and accepting the Four Noble Truths. It is the understanding that life involves suffering, that suffering has a cause, that there is an end to suffering, and that there is a path leading to the end of suffering. This understanding forms the foundation for all the other aspects of the path. Right thought, or right intention, involves cultivating thoughts of renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. It means letting go of desires and attachments, fostering loving kindness and compassion towards all beings, and committing to nonviolence and ethical conduct. Right thought aligns our intentions with the principles of the Buddhist path and sets the stage for ethical behavior and mental discipline. Ethical conduct, or sila, is the second category of the Eightfold Path and includes right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Right speech involves speaking truthfully, kindly, and beneficially. It means avoiding falsehoods, harsh words, divisive speech, and idle chatter. By practicing right speech, we create harmonious relationships and avoid causing harm through our words. Right action involves behaving ethically and morally in our interactions with others. It includes abstaining from harmful behaviors such as killing, stealing, and engaging in sexual misconduct. By practicing right action, we cultivate a life of integrity and compassion, contributing to the well-being of ourselves and others. Right livelihood involves choosing a profession or means of earning a living that does not cause harm to others. It means avoiding occupations that involve deceit, exploitation, or harm to living beings. By practicing right livelihood, we align our work with our ethical values and contribute to a just and compassionate society. Mental discipline, or samadhi, is the third category of the Eightfold Path and includes right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Right effort involves cultivating a positive and diligent attitude towards our spiritual practice. It means making a continuous effort to abandon unwholesome states of mind and to cultivate wholesome ones. Right effort helps us to overcome laziness and complacency, fostering a proactive and determined approach to our practice. Right mindfulness involves developing a keen awareness of our body, feelings, mind, and mental states. It means paying attention to our present moment experience with clarity and equanimity. By practicing right mindfulness, we cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and our experiences, reducing the influence of ignorance and delusion. Right concentration involves developing deep and focused states of meditation. It means training the mind to become concentrated and absorbed in the object of meditation, leading to a state of mental clarity and tranquility. By practicing right concentration, we develop the mental stability and insight necessary for the realization of wisdom and the attainment of nirvana. The Eightfold Path is not a linear or sequential process, but rather a holistic and interconnected practice. Each aspect of the path supports and reinforces the others, creating a comprehensive framework for spiritual development. By following the Eightfold Path, we gradually transform our understanding, behavior, and mental states, moving closer to the realization of nirvana. The practice of the Eightfold Path requires dedication, patience, and perseverance. It involves a continuous and mindful effort to cultivate wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline in all aspects of our lives. It is a path of self-discovery and transformation, leading to the ultimate goal of liberation from suffering and the attainment of true and lasting peace. Impermanence or anicca. Impermanence, or anicca, is one of the fundamental teachings of Buddhism and is central to understanding the nature of reality. This concept posits that all things in life, whether physical, mental, or emotional, are in a constant state of flux. Nothing remains the same from one moment to the next, and this continuous change is intrinsic to the nature of existence. Recognizing the impermanence of all things can be challenging, as humans naturally seek stability and permanence in their lives. We often cling to people, possessions, and experiences, hoping that they will provide lasting happiness and security. However, this attachment is based on a misunderstanding of reality. Everything we hold dear is subject to change, decay, and eventually disappearance. This truth is evident in the cycle of life and death, the changing seasons, and the rise and fall of civilizations. Impermanence can be observed in the physical world. Our bodies are in a constant state of change, from the moment of birth to the inevitable aging process and death. Cells regenerate and decay, and the physical appearance we see in the mirror today will not be the same in a few years. This understanding can be both humbling and liberating. By accepting the impermanent nature of our bodies, we can let go of the obsession with physical appearance and the fear of aging. Instead, we can focus on maintaining health and well-being in the present moment. The impermanence of the mind is another critical aspect of anicca. Our thoughts, emotions, and mental states are transient, arising and passing away like clouds in the sky. A feeling of joy or sadness may seem overwhelming in the moment, but it will inevitably change. By recognizing the fleeting nature of our mental states, we can cultivate a sense of detachment and equanimity. This does not mean becoming indifferent or apathetic, but rather developing a balanced approach to our experiences, knowing that they are temporary and will pass. Impermanence also applies to our relationships and possessions. Friendships and romantic relationships evolve over time, influenced by various factors such as personal growth, external circumstances, and mutual understanding. While these relationships can bring immense joy and support, they are also subject to change. People grow apart, move away, or pass on. By accepting this reality, we can appreciate and cherish our relationships while they last, without clinging to them or fearing their end. Possessions, too, are impermanent. Material wealth, status, and accomplishments may provide temporary satisfaction, but they do not offer lasting fulfillment. The joy of acquiring a new possession often fades as we become accustomed to it and start desiring something else. Moreover, material possessions can be lost, stolen, or destroyed. By understanding their impermanent nature, we can cultivate a sense of gratitude for what we have without becoming attached to it. This mindset can lead to a more sustainable and fulfilling way of life, free from the constant pursuit of material wealth. Understanding impermanence is not merely an intellectual exercise. It requires deep contemplation and mindfulness. Through the practice of meditation, we can observe the impermanent nature of our thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations. This direct experience helps us internalize the concept of anicca and develop a more profound sense of acceptance and peace. By living mindfully in the present moment, we can appreciate the beauty and uniqueness of each experience without becoming attached to it. Embracing impermanence also has practical implications for how we live our lives. It encourages us to be more adaptable and resilient in the face of change. Instead of resisting or fearing change, we learn to flow with it, knowing that it is an inherent part of life. This adaptability can help us navigate life's challenges with greater ease and grace. Furthermore, the awareness of impermanence can enhance our compassion and empathy towards others. When we recognize that everyone is subject to the same impermanent nature of existence, we can develop a sense of shared humanity. We become more understanding and supportive, knowing that others are also experiencing the joys and sorrows of life. This compassion can strengthen our relationships and foster a more connected and caring society. Ultimately, the realization of impermanence leads to a profound shift in our perspective on life. it helps us let go of the illusion of permanence and the suffering that comes with it. By embracing the transient nature of all things, we can find a deeper sense of peace, freedom, and contentment. This understanding is a vital step on the path to enlightenment and liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness and meditation are integral practices in Buddhism, essential for developing insight, wisdom, and inner peace. These practices form the foundation for understanding the nature of reality and achieving liberation from suffering. Mindfulness, or sati, involves paying careful attention to the present moment, while meditation, or bhavana, encompasses various techniques for training the mind and cultivating concentration and insight. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully aware and present in each moment. It involves observing our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment or attachment. By cultivating mindfulness, we develop a heightened sense of awareness and clarity, allowing us to see things as they truly are. This practice can be applied to all aspects of daily life, from mundane activities like eating and walking to more complex interactions and decisions. The practice of mindfulness begins with simple observation. We start by paying attention to our breath, noticing the sensations of inhaling and exhaling. As we become more attuned to our breath, we expand our awareness to include bodily sensations, thoughts, and emotions. This process helps us develop a non-reactive and accepting attitude towards our experiences. Instead of being swept away by our thoughts and emotions, we learn to observe them with a sense of detachment and equanimity. Meditation, in its various forms, is a powerful tool for developing mindfulness and deepening our understanding of the mind. One common form of meditation is concentration meditation, or samatha, which involves focusing the mind on a single object such as the breath, a candle flame, or a mantra. By repeatedly bringing the mind back to the chosen object, we develop concentration and mental stability. This focused attention helps to calm the mind and reduce the distractions of wandering thoughts. Another important form of meditation is insight meditation, or vipassana. This practice involves observing the changing nature of our thoughts, emotions, and sensations with a clear and focused mind. Through sustained observation, we gain direct insight into the impermanent, unsatisfactory, and selfless nature of all phenomena. This insight leads to a deeper understanding of the true nature of reality and helps to dissolve the delusions and attachments that cause suffering. Loving-kindness meditation, or metta bhavana, is another powerful practice that cultivates compassion and goodwill towards ourselves and others. This meditation involves generating feelings of loving kindness and extending them to all beings, starting with ourselves, then to loved ones, acquaintances, and eventually to all sentient beings. By practicing loving-kindness meditation, we develop a more compassionate and empathetic attitude, which can transform our relationships and interactions with others. The benefits of mindfulness and meditation extend beyond the spiritual realm. These practices have been shown to have significant positive effects on physical and mental health. Regular meditation practice can reduce stress, anxiety, and depression, improve concentration and cognitive function, and enhance overall well-being. Mindfulness training has also been incorporated into various therapeutic approaches, such as mindfulness-based stress reduction and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, to help individuals cope with a range of mental health issues. Incorporating mindfulness and meditation into our daily lives requires dedication and consistency. It is essential to set aside regular time for practice, even if it is just a few minutes each day. Creating a quiet and comfortable space for meditation can help establish a routine and make the practice more enjoyable. Additionally, integrating mindfulness into everyday activities, such as eating, walking, and working, can enhance our overall sense of presence and awareness. Mindfulness and meditation also play a crucial role in the development of ethical conduct and mental discipline. By cultivating mindfulness, we become more aware of our thoughts, words, and actions. and their impact on ourselves and others. This awareness helps us make more conscious and compassionate choices, aligning our behavior with our values and principles. Meditation strengthens our mental discipline, allowing us to overcome negative habits and tendencies and develop positive qualities such as patience, kindness, and equanimity. Ultimately, mindfulness and meditation are transformative practices that lead to greater self-awareness, inner peace, and spiritual growth. They help us cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us, paving the way for the realization of wisdom and the attainment of enlightenment. By committing to these practices, we embark on a journey of self-discovery and transformation, moving closer to the ultimate goal of liberation from suffering. Compassion and kindness, or metta. Compassion and kindness, often referred to as metta in Pali, are fundamental virtues in Buddhism and are essential for personal and spiritual development. Metta translates to loving kindness or benevolence and involves cultivating an attitude of unconditional love and goodwill towards all beings. This practice is not only central to the Buddhist path, but also serves as a foundation for building harmonious and compassionate relationships in our daily lives. The practice of metta begins with generating loving kindness towards oneself. This may seem counterintuitive to some, as self-love is often misunderstood as selfishness or self-centeredness. However, in the context of metta, loving oneself is about recognizing our intrinsic worth and treating ourselves with the same kindness and compassion that we would offer to a dear friend. By developing a strong sense of self-compassion, we create a stable and positive foundation from which we can extend loving kindness to others. Once we have established a sense of metta towards ourselves, we gradually extend this feeling to others, starting with those closest to us, such as family and friends. We generate sincere wishes for their happiness, health, and well-being, acknowledging their struggles and joys. This practice helps to strengthen our bonds with loved ones and fosters a sense of empathy and understanding. As we continue to cultivate metta, we extend it further to include neutral individuals, such as acquaintances or people we may encounter in our daily lives, but do not have strong feelings towards. This practice encourages us to recognize the common humanity we share with others and to develop a sense of goodwill towards all beings, regardless of our personal connections. The next step in the practice of metta is to extend loving kindness to those with whom we have difficulties or conflicts. This can be challenging, as it requires us to let go of feelings of anger, resentment, and ill will. However, by practicing metta towards those we find difficult, we can transform our negative emotions and cultivate a sense of forgiveness and understanding. This does not mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather recognizing that everyone, including those who have hurt us, is capable of change and deserving of compassion. The practice of metta culminates in extending loving kindness to all sentient beings without exception. This includes all humans, animals, and even those beings we may not directly encounter. By cultivating an all-encompassing sense of compassion, we develop a boundless and impartial love that transcends individual differences and embraces the interconnectedness of all life. Metta meditation, or metta bhavana, is a specific practice designed to cultivate loving kindness. It involves silently repeating phrases such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, may I live with ease," and gradually extending these wishes to others. This practice helps to reinforce the intention of metta and to embed it deeply in our hearts and minds. The benefits of cultivating compassion and kindness extend beyond our spiritual practice and have a profound impact on our daily lives. Research has shown that practicing loving kindness meditation can increase positive emotions, reduce stress and anxiety, and enhance overall well-being. It also promotes pro-social behavior, such as altruism and cooperation, and strengthens our social connections. Compassion and kindness also play a crucial role in ethical conduct. By cultivating a heart of loving kindness, we naturally become more mindful of our actions and their impact on others. This awareness guides us to act with integrity, respect, and consideration, fostering harmonious and supportive relationships. In this way, metta serves as both a personal virtue and a guiding principle for ethical behavior. Moreover, the practice of compassion and kindness has the power to transform not only our individual lives, but also the world around us. In a world often marked by conflict, division, and suffering, acts of kindness and compassion can create ripples of positive change. By embodying the principles of metta, we contribute to a more compassionate and just society, where all beings are treated with dignity and respect. Ultimately, compassion and kindness are central to the Buddhist path and the realization of enlightenment. They are expressions of the boundless love and wisdom that arise from a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all life. By cultivating metta, we move closer to the realization of our true nature and the attainment of liberation from suffering. In this way, the practice of compassion and kindness is both a means and an end on the journey to enlightenment. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Buddha's teachings. May the wisdom of impermanence, mindfulness, and compassion guide you on your path to inner peace and enlightenment.